majors or not. I just want to learn how to use my brain to think outside the box in a way.
Okay. How was that transition from high school to college? I mean, Auburn is no joke when it comes to expecting performance. How did that transition into a college atmosphere go?
It was very big transition for me because I'm from Huntsville and it's a big like town or big city, but I went to a really small high school in that city.
Okay.
Called Valley Fellowship. I graduated with like 7 people, so it was really, really
Oh,
tiny. And so coming from 7 people to like what 30,000 plus people in
uh-huh.
college, I was like, so it was definitely interesting. I think the biggest thing was being like one of 30 people in a high school to like one of all these people. It felt kind of weird being like, okay, now I have to figure out how I can make a name for myself really.
Hmm.
But I think the transition was really good and being able to find like smaller spaces I could grow in. Like I know engineering in Auburn, they have the academic excellence program for like minorities in engineering. So being part of that and be able to grow from there kind of helped me get my footing. 'Cause I feel like, or else, a lot of people, it's kind of hard to really just
Right.
find my place just amongst everybody. So it kind of helps.
Now, in your field, I historically engineering has been a boys' club.
Mhm.
There are women, obviously women who go into engineering, but historically, a gender divide of like 80-20, 75-25 has been the norm. What have you found in your classes at Auburn?
Yeah, that definitely has like ranged true as far as like the norm. Definitely like there's way fewer girls. You automatically see there's way fewer girls than guys in classrooms. I know. I've usually like the girls like they kind of like stick together in a way because like okay, so now like you're in this together. Like especially in junior and even I guess senior classes now,
Uh-huh.
you start seeing the same people and over again. So you kind of like recognize them, and you kind of like you oh hi everything, knowing that we're like come with some of the few in there. But it's kind of cool having like that like small like little group that we have. Like okay, so now like you're in mechanical, we're all gonna graduate together. So it's really exciting. But yeah, it definitely reigns true. So.
What about like teaching assistants and professors? What's the divide there? Do you have I mean women on campus in mechanical engineering who are further down the road than you are, who you can identify with, or is that
Uh,
lacking? Or
Yes, they do have. We have. I think my main avenue for that was through the Society of Women Engineers. I'm not like a direct like part of the organization, but I have been affiliated with them. They kind of helped me get my first mentorship, and I'm a mentor, not mentorship, mentor and everything. My freshman year, it was like a mechanical engineering student that was a grad student.
right?
I think like so I was able to get connect more from there. Aside from classrooms, and I think like, and as far as like actual professors, I think right now, there's only one that I know of, professor in mechanical engineering, Dr. Anahita Ayasufi. She's really nice and she's really sweet, and so I've always connected with her in that. I think she's like the only one, so it's awesome to connect with her in that aspect. But I think as far as that goes, my connections really kind of come through like organizations or just even like having a class with the one teacher, or my connections really. How that comes through? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Did I
it
answer?
makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, it's, I talked to Professor Hughes who does civil engineering there,
Mhm.
and she and I are the same generation, obviously, we're in our
Mhm.
50s. And, um, I found in college, I found in high school and grade school and everywhere else that young women typically are a bit more mature about their studies and being serious about the stuff you need to be serious about than boys are. um, and you said your folks expected a lot from you. Do you ever feel like you had to outperform the guys in the program in order to make your place, or is that, I mean, is there any external pressure to that, or is that just something you do?
Um, I think I kind of like always like felt that I guess intentionally like one I guess that my parents like expect me to do certain things and even like I guess also being like an African American woman, not just a woman. I'm just like oh
Mhm.
snap, like I guess I'm one of few women, but also like I'm like the only African American woman. So I'm like okay, how can
Right.
I prove myself really? And
Uh-huh.
so sometimes it seems kind of like okay, I need to make that extra step or do this extra stuff to really like feel like I'm doing more. And
Uh-huh.
so and I think often if that doesn't happen like in a certain classroom, like I'm not doing so well in class, like okay, how can I join these organizations and like become like like established on campus really to see like to show that I'm like doing and like almost I guess enough in a way.
Right.
Um but I think as far as that goes, I think a lot being able to like connect with other women in the engineering, as far as in my classes, that they definitely supported me, and I've definitely seen them like work hard. I know like one girl I know that's in my classes. She's like always the main one leading all the. We run a coding class together. She's
Yeah.
leading all the coding sessions and everything. Everybody's like asking her all the guys and the girls. So it's like she's like the main smartest one there.
Mhm.
And I know like several other girls that have like gotten so many scholarships and everything have now like gone all these trips because like I feel like it's almost like so yeah, we're like few in number, I guess, as far as like
Mhm.
on campus and even in the college. But it's like seeing like us like really um what's it called like you'll beyond the standard as far as like even just going to college. I feel like seeing that, I feel like the being like the minority in that case has kind of like helped us surpass the norm really as far as
Well, yeah, and that's a very interesting point. In your case, I don't know what the breakdown is white and black at Auburn, but like most large land grant universities, it's definitely skewed heavily white, especially considering the
Mhm.
state is over one third African American. Is that an issue? I mean, again, I guess it comes to the expectation. Do you find that people have different expectations of you than they would say maybe a white student, even a white girl?
You said like you said me opposed to like a white girl, you said?
Yeah, or a white
Um
guy as far as that goes. Yeah.
so I think as far as like expectations goes, it's like I'm not sure if maybe just me putting it on myself. Expectation is like, okay, like I'm here, like I am the minority and everything. Almost I feel like I need to like represent, like, okay, like yes, I'm black and I'm a woman, but I can like still do the same things that everybody else in my class and everything. And like I don't know like how everybody else feels or what they're, how they feel about like, women in the classroom or even African
Mhm.
Americans in the classroom. So it kind of maybe it's just me like putting this pressure on myself, but I feel like showing that I can be successful because I feel like sometimes it's like almost like a stereotype that oh we're not gonna like African Americans and like or women are like oh they're not smart enough, they're too emotional type of thing. Being able to like surpass the stereotype for myself and so that people won't ever think about that. I don't know if they were thinking about it in the first place. I'm just making sure they won't ever think about that about me or like about any other African American or woman that I know
Mhm.
because I want to be able to like represent well because this is like what reigns true and that will reign true. That will make sure will reign true. I think I try to like spread not spread that like pressure really, but just like spread that knowledge that like to like other African Americans, other women that you're capable of doing more than like what I guess what is kind of deemed in society because there's not a lot of women not a lot of women like engineers out there, not a lot of African American engineers. Well, there is, but like not that uplifted as much. And so being able to like stand for those, that's what I kind of keep in mind every day
Right.
when I go to class and stay involved.
Right. Before I came to Auburn, I covered the Clemson University campus over in South Carolina, kind of the same capacity I do here now.
Hmm.
And I did a similar story several years ago. I sat down with a bunch of women engineering students and talked to them. One of the issues they brought up, and I guess it goes to expectations or societal expectations or whatever, was the assumption that some people assume that young women are actually going to college to get their MRS degree and not get their mechanical engineering degree. Is
Hmm.
that something I mean you've run into? Because I've had other women who complain about, there are people in my classes who think I'm just there to get a boyfriend and get married, and
Oh yeah.
they don't take me seriously as an engineer. Is that something you see at Auburn?
I feel like I see not really like I guess you said MRS school. I feel like I don't see much of that. What I usually think is kind of like how do I phrase this? Um, let's see. I think it's less of like almost like a surprise or saying oh what yeah are you here to study da, da, da. But I think it's more so about like I don't know. I don't know how to really word this. And like I don't know. It's kind of like an acknowledgement that yeah you are the only one in the class and everything, but not like, but it's kind of like, not that like, are you here to get something other degree other than engineering or like, why are you here type of thing. It's kind of like, okay, like, almost like, what's going to happen? Like, okay, like, I see like you're in this class and everything. I don't think I'm wording this right. I think also this goes back
That's
to me being
okay. I
fresh in
mean,
myself, but
yeah,
what's he
it
gonna
is.
do? Is yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fraught question.
Mm,
Being a middle-aged professional white guy, I mean,
mm,
it's a fraught question coming from someone like me, I mean, it is an issue that other women have commented to me about over
mm,
the years. Maybe let me expand it a little bit. I mean,
mm.
is chauvinism a problem, I guess, in your studies? Male
And he's playing.
chauvinism, obviously.
You said what, sir?
Male chauvinism, guys who think that, oh, well, you're a girl, you can't hack it here, or that you're there for some other reason. I mean, is that something you encounter at all?
Um, I will say it's not in the majority that that I encounter. I think every now and then I'll be like, okay, maybe I kind of sense that this person was like, not really thinking that I'm really up to par. Like they were like, oh
Right.
yeah, I have a question about something. They won't ask me, they'll ask somebody else like next to me. But for the most part, I feel like most of the guys I know I'm in classes with, they're knowledge like, okay, yeah, she's here for a reason. Like
Mhm.
she's in this class for a reason. So they'll recognize like, and then we'll connect even like after the class ends, or even like well, I know I still connect with some of the guys from like freshman year when I like was in the classes, and I'm like, oh yeah, hey, how are you doing, everything.
Uh-huh.
I think it's in the majority really that guys are really kind of see that okay, you're here for a reason. I mean, every now and then you'll have like a guy that's just kind of like, just prideful or whatever, or just like thinks he's like all that in those senses of word. But like, you kind of find that anywhere. I'm thinking like even in your career. So I think kind of just like moving past those people, but like in the majority, most people want to like know that you're here to like for a reason. They want to see you succeed.
Sure, sure. Now, you've got a year and a half to go. Is that about right? Or
Yeah, a year and a half.
so, what's the plan after you graduate?
After I graduate, I want to go to grad school. I think for what is the biggest thing? I wonder if I should do a type of engineering design or an architecture degree. I know, but the biggest thing I wanted to do was combine the fields of like engineering and design, and I don't know if that will come through like eventually just becoming a professor in this like after maybe after master's getting a PhD,
Uh-huh.
or like doing research in that type of engineering design, or just like going and working for a company where I use like user experience and combining those two within engineering. But like as far as like what it's going to be, what degree I'm going to pursue, that's still like a question mark. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen because a lot of things can change in over a year and a
Oh yeah,
half. So.
absolutely. Yeah, and the older you get, you'll find the more common it is.
Mhm.
Just when you should be getting wiser and being able to expect things better, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, one last question. Let's say you go back to your old school, or you go and You talk to a room full of girls, say seventh or eighth graders, or maybe freshmen in high school. Um, what would be your recruiting pitch to them to get them to seriously consider engineering? Why should they do it?
Let's see. Let's see. I would say like if they were like very serious about doing engineering and like they were like on the fence about ever like whether I should do or not, I would definitely say do it. I would say challenge yourself, challenge like because it's better to challenge yourself and find out more about who you are and what you're capable of than not doing so. And I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people are like intimidated by the fact that okay, maybe like I don't see a lot of women in the industry. I don't see like if I'm African American, I don't see a lot of African Americans in the industry. But don't be discouraged by that. Be the one person in the classroom if you have to. Be that person that's like going after what you believe, what you want to go after, what your goal is.
Mhm.
Because in the end, it's going to be you and that goal, not anybody else. And so not let anybody else like put you down or make you think any sort of way about yourself because you know who you are, you know why you want to do engineering, you know why you want to pursue STEM, and so you should stick with that and know that like there are people who believe in you and everything, and even if they're not right in front of you, um, even if they're not right in front of you, you're gonna be successful regardless. Not successful, but just like you're going to be able to even if they're not right in front of you, just you have to know in your heart that this is what you want to do and this is what you want to pursue. And I thought that will carry you through. And like even like also finding those circles of people that believe in you that you can trust in. Because at the end of the day, those people that will support you, like sometimes if I'm feeling discouraged, I have to set people my inner circle that I can talk to and really
Right.
just support me. And so just finding that group as well is a big, like accountability. That's a big word for it, but like
Okay. Okay. You don't know until you try. So
exactly.
yeah.